Welcome to Penenka. So we have a special episode today. We have Kathleen and Samir from Kemp FC, and we are going to have an exciting discussion on Kemp FC and how they have they started and what are their plans. Right. I've also Yes who has joined me. Uh, Welcome Samir and Kathleen.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Hi. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you very much. Exciting to
Great.
talk about our
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah, so I think we are excited to talk about the journey, right? I mean, we have been following Camp FC for a few years, and how you have been having teams in different divisions, and how you are promoting women's football in Karnataka, right? So that's the thing that we wanted to talk about today. But before that, I think I would like to have your introduction, right? Specifically, Kathleen and Samir. I think that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm Kathleen, and officially I'm the president of Kemp FC. This, like the two of you, is not my first choice of profession. I am from the media and content services background. I am a writer and editor. Been doing that my whole life before this, and this was a interesting sort of byproduct, I would say, because I think our children were sort of the motivators, got us really excited about the sport, and I think it was a collective uh, decision to take football on as now from passion to profession, I think, in some ways.
Got it. Samir, I think you can go ahead.
Yep, I'm Samir Kamerkar. Like Kathleen, my day job also as a software engineering executive in software companies. I worked for IBM for 20 plus years, and now I work for a company behind Ubuntu Linux called Canonical. Uh, this similar story was inspired, always a football fan, but when my daughter started playing, I got into it more. But it was the other round. Our daughters were perhaps the most skeptical when we talked about this idea of owning and taking over a football club. And of course, they wanted to make sure that we are not doing it for them. My daughter clearly told me in no uncertain terms that let it be very clear that don't do it for me. Only if you want to do it for you, then do it. And that passion had been built up by then. And now here we are after 3 years with teams in three divisions, and football has become perhaps bigger than the day job almost. I hope my boss doesn't see this.
Even our boss, right? Because we do this often, having interviews and all those things. But again, same. We are in software industry and doing the day job of
Yeah.
chasing a lot of customers, right? So yeah,
So, hello. Can we know what is the logo behind that, and why do you specifically chosen K Kannada word?
Correct. We are. I mean, our vision was to be extremely Karnataka centric when we started this club. For Karnataka women, are all our daughters be playing for Karnataka and playing in the Karnataka leagues. So when we started brainstorming about what the logo for our club should be, we came up with a lot of different ideas about having a woman in the logo, having a football in the logo, having a normal crest, and those very typical things. We wanted to stand out, and we also definitely wanted to connect with the Karnataka audiences. And from there, this idea came that we should use a kind of Kannada letter, and it's not your typical logo, but if you look at it really closely, it does look like a human figure kicking a ball.
Ye-
The stylized
Yes,
car.
Yeah.
that's a hidden meaning.
Yes.
super.
But I think it's very inspiring, right? Because a lot of I mean, if you see, right, there's localization is something that we need to kind of follow to get a lot of audience or investment also, right? Because it's very important to connect with the local folks. But I think when we saw the first look, I think we were also inspired. Okay, oh, this is something new, right? I mean, there's no club, I think, in KWL or in the BDFA league as well, where which has a logo in Canada, but that's a good thing, right?
And
But
Kemp
yeah,
is inspired from Kempu, which means red, and we are our primary colors are red. Again, tracing back to the Karnataka colors of red and yellow. But like red has its own meanings of passion and you know determination, fire, all of those things, right? Positive images, which when we think of the color red, and also wanted to stand apart from the blues of Karnataka, right? So yes.
a lot of blues, right? But yeah, I think that's unique as well with respect to having the Karnataka color as well, having your own identity. But that's a great thought behind the logo as well as your colors, right? Part of the journey, right? I think Samir mentioned already. It started from daughters playing football, right? I think we'd like to
Correct.
hear the whole journey, how it started. What is the vision? I mean, how did it come into the whole picture, right?
Right. So all our daughters, like Samir said, were playing football independently in their own schools, and they came together. The common denominator was Mr. Sudhakar, who is still our coach. He had brought all of these girls together to play the A division under a different banner, and once we won the A division, there was really no clarity on what the next step would be because we qualified to be a super division team, right? And we definitely wanted to continue this journey at that point of time, yes, for the girls who had qualified, but of course, like taking it forward, right? Because again, with women's football, all the effort that's going in, and then we're not able to see the end goal or the end result. And then we had heard that yes, there's an IWL, and yes, there are various other tournaments up the ladder, but that point of time the focus was to ensure that the girls play in the super division. And when we approached the other club that they were playing under, they were not ready, they were not committed to putting up a team in the super division. So that's when we pooled our resources and decided to take ownership of this club and uh, provide that opportunity. Now, of course, at that first season, primarily it was instigated, like Samir also mentioned, by our children, but not the end game, right? Not necessarily that only these children are the ones who are players or children who will go forward to play it, but open it out to definitely more of Karnataka players because, like you were saying earlier, also unfortunately, the other districts and the other parts of Karnataka, while there may be good talent, girls interested also in playing, they just don't get the right opportunities. They just don't have the inroads to come to Bangalore, which is the hub to play. So yeah, so
Same point where you mentioned, right? It's making inroads to the different players who are coming from different districts, right? How are we seeing that right now? Because I think it's been 2 3 years. It's very early age in terms of what we are speaking, right? I mean, there's a lot of kids from Bangalore, but how are we helping as a Kemp FC to get other players from other districts who have really talent, right?
Samir.
It's a tough job. I will take that one, right? The
Yeah,
preference to local players in the top tournament is already a bit hindered because clubs want to win and go to the next level IWL, so they look for the best talent. That's their commercial interest. But
correct.
we have a dream that soon the local player rule in Karnataka Women's League will be reversed and the number of outstation players will be restricted to not more than three in the playing 11. Today it's the other way around. We have a dream that one day there will be multiple Karnataka women players who will be part of Indian senior national team, right? So with those dreams, we are working hard to provide that required path and platform to local players, not just in Bangalore, but from all across Karnataka. So in our KWL squad last year, while we were scouting, we went to Belgavi clubs, the known coaches, known contacts. We went to Mangalore colleges and club contacts. And we were actually able to build a squad where out of our 28-player squad, 17 players were local players. And 15 of them got playing time in multiple matches. So we are trying to find that balance. We are not going all out that we will just get outside players and try to win every year. We are trying to build that local talent, build a balanced squad where there will be enough local players, not just the minimum required three. We have played almost 6 to 7 local players in every playing 11 in every match, and that is why 15 out of our 17 players got playing time in multiple matches. And there are two players from Belagavi, two players from Mangalore who came in, really played with us and enjoyed, and they are willing to come back. Across the board, we are seeing that increase in interest in competitive football. Boys, the path was very easy, right? There were already a lot of competitions happening. But for every 4 tournaments that a boys team can go to, there is barely one tournament that a girls team can go to. And within that also, then for a team or a club, nobody wants to invest that much to take them. Majority of the KWL teams are KWL to KWL. The team comes
Correct.
together for KWL plays and disbands. Whereas
That's
we are focusing on holding the team together, especially our local girls, and giving them game time exposure throughout the year. So that has made us parents interested. And parents are coming to us stating so that overall interest in girls football is also increasing. We now have players telling their parents that I don't want to just go train at a school or an academy. I want to go play in competitions. Find me a place that will take me to competitions. We have parents who are bringing 5 and 6 year old girls to our academy and say that I
oh,
want to start them early. So it's starting, taking hold. So women's football is growing that way, and we are committed to provide this player with that path, right, to not just the state level, but national, international level competition.
got it. Got it. The role of the KSFA, right? Again, the first point would be having that outstation player. That's one point. But then the other point is how they have contributed in setting the whole divisions, right? Coming from KWL, the A division
Yeah,
and the B division. Now we have C
yeah,
division as well with multiple teams. And Kem being the only team where it has three different teams in three divisions, right?
right,
Starting from KWL, A division, where you were the champions of the B divisions as well, and then now you have team in C division as well, right?
right.
So
It
I
being
will quickly talk about how Kem got 3 teams and then hand
yeah,
over to Kate to talk about KFA, right? But it was again the approach that we have been talking about from day one that has helped us here. Right? When we came in third in KW in our debut season, many local players who were on the verge or in other teams started contacting us to joining us. Because when they saw that we are not just a KWL to KWL club and provide a lot more game time, when our players talked to them during KWL matches or after KWL matches, they told us, yeah, we went to Mysore for this tournament, we went to Coimbatore for that tournament and played there. And that helped us in our preparation. That definitely encouraged the players to think along those lines as well. So with that, that number of inquiries increased, and as a result, we were able to build a very good pipeline. Although I must admit that that pipeline is limited to school and college level players. So all of the players in this pipeline are very young, majority of them in the under 15 age group. But after that first KWL, when they started playing with us, started practicing regularly, by the time A division of the next season came around, we had that confidence in their ability as well. So we asked KSFA, they also allowed that for a club to field a second team. We created a second entity, came juniors, and we put up a team in A division. And that group of young girls also proved themselves very well by again coming in third behind two teams whose average age of players was 20 and 21, and our average age was 15. So
oh,
encouraged with this, I guess I hope feel that KSFA, when they needed to fill up a slot in B division, they again contacted us, said that do you have the players? Coincidentally, just at that time, our under 13 squad had won the Khelo India under 13 age group championship. So they were again even younger. The B division also did not have any
11
issue
yeah.
from KSFA point of view. But we said it will be an exposure to them. Why not? Let's give them an opportunity. And that's how now we have a team in all three divisions. But KSFA has also grown. I'll just say one line that 2015, when first time our girls went to state selection, there were barely 30 or 40 girls coming for selection also. And
yeah,
forward to after COVID first selection trials in 2021, there were 90 plus girls that had shown up for that state selection. So both the president and secretaries of KSFA have really made an effort, focused effort to improve girls football. And Kate can tell you more about how KSFA is active in this development.
Yeah, I think just to build on that, it is true they are extremely bullish about women's football, and they make every effort to sort of encourage, you know, more and more Karnataka girls to come for these trials. So even when the girls travel from other districts, they actually provide them with safe accommodation at the stadium itself, ensuring that they are, under their care, and they provide them with food and all of that as well. So the girls are encouraged to come from other districts, right? Like Bengal and Mangalore, and yes, even Chitradurga and all of that. So that is extremely, I mean, promising for teams like us who are trying to build this pipeline for these younger girls aged 10 plus. And also, I think KSFA has actually collaborated on some ideas of ours, like even the no foul play initiative that we started, and we
Yeah,
presented to them our plans, and they were extremely, forthcoming, facilitating the whole thing, the launch at the stadium, even being open to us introducing prizes for the Karnataka Women's League, which was first time in the history of India, I think, that there were prizes being given at this level, at the state level, to a player. So it has definitely been extremely positive. Like Samir said, at that time, Mr. Satyanarayan was the Secretary General here, and General Secretary here, and Mr. Harris, and both have been very encouraging of us trying to build this banner for the girls, and that legacy continues now as they have, handed over to the current secretary. And
secretary.
yes.
Samir, tell us about the plans and futures for IWL.
Of course, we have IWL aspirations, but like everything else we have done, we are nurturing those aspirations in a planned and professional manner. Right? We don't want to be a club that just buys players and puts up a team in IWL. So we are working towards building a core squad of players that have been with us or will be with us throughout that journey and play for us. First win KWL with us and then play for us in the IWL levels. Now there is an additional step. So our first target is to win KWL and qualify for IWL2. Take as many of our players who are have reached that capability to IWL, and only then supplement the squad with other players as needed. And that's how we plan to go about that. So there's definitely that's the aspiration. IWL is a target, and to be honest, we are even dreaming beyond that to AFC.
Yeah, I think this year we have one slot or two slot which is opened by the AFF, right, for corporate bidding. But yeah, again, that's a big thing for any club to jump on. But yeah, I think one more question on the KSFA is on the KWL, right? How competitive is the KWL now? Now you have the teams like Kickstart, Misaka, BFC, and also there. And how are those competitiveness in the KWL league?
It has grown like any other league very well, right? First couple of seasons, if you go back and look at the scores, it was quite one-sided. Top two teams were dominant everywhere. Our first debut season, we felt that there was good enough fight in at least six teams out of the eight, and so we were quite proud of reaching third spot in that one. There is definitely a gulf level of gap between Kickstart and other teams because they have built that team with national level players from other
Yes.
states and all that, and they have been able to retain those players to build that core. But beyond that, it has become very, very competitive. So if you look at the scores of last two KWLs, last KWL after Kickstart, the next three teams were on same number of points,
Yeah.
and the ranking was decided on goal difference and other things. And
Okay.
that's where we went down to fourth and missed the chance to go to IWL2 this year itself. So that definitely is a credit to KSFA, and that's the balance. Like they have held down that rule some of the rules and regulations to allow competition, to allow better players to come in. Today in the women's league, there is a lot of attraction for all across India, top level players to come and play at KWL, especially those who are trying to prove themselves to IWL clubs. They look at KWL as that advertisement ground to come and showcase their skills. So definitely the competition is now very good. I would say in terms of state leagues across India, KWL is in the top three right now in terms of quality and competition.
And also I think very proactively planned, and they do take inputs from clubs as well. It's quite a open
Understood.
forum. They're quite transparent about their plans. And also there are like huge states like Tamil Nadu who don't even have a league. So I mean,
Yeah.
credit to Karnataka for putting in that effort, ensuring that their best, that it doesn't clash with any other key tournaments that the players have to participate in, so that they can give their best to this tournament.
So my next question is like, can you collab with the colleges and schools for the players to grow in your academy, right? Because when you take my college, there are 3 to 4 girls who represented for nationals from state, right? So they won the state league and they got selected for nationals. So can you do that, right?
Yeah, we are. So as I said, basically in Bangalore, we got the inflow on its own, right? We don't need to do much. And the academic institutions in Bangalore are slightly more academically inclined, and especially girls' sports, there is not much support. But we have been going to Belagavi, Mangalore. We work with a college near Mangalore, and we have a plan with them to help them build a college team and then act or use that as a pipeline for our KWL team. So there are a couple of things like that in motion. Uh, it's again a challenge in the sense that that balance, right? We ultimately it is driven by parents. If parents say that yes, I want my girl and I know she can do both, then it is easier. It's very hard for an academic institution to push for girls to come and play. It's very difficult for many of these colleges where there are good coaches. They can easily build 1, 2 boys teams, but even building 1 14, 15 player girls squad or even a 10 player girls squad to play seven aside proves very difficult for these good coaches as well. So we are trying to provide them with that platform, that path to go beyond inter school and inter college. And many of our players have come through that path after playing inter school, after playing inter college, and then seeing Kemp in KWL or other local tournaments when we played their college teams. Then they have joined us or asked us to join us.
Got it. Great. The next question would be on one of the players who started with Kemp, right? I think one name stands with Kemp is Rivka, right? Where she got selected to the under 19 squad of India as well. So I think if you want to tell about her journey, I think there are many other footballers, right? But I think Rivka is one name that stands out from Bangalore. So if you want to tell about her, I think that would be great.
Okay. So yes, you're right. There we have 15 players actually, who are playing across the state league, the national competition, the sub juniors, juniors, and seniors,
Yeah.
and all of them local, right? So like you said, Rivka is one first of many, we hope, to make it to
Yeah,
the
exactly.
India team. She has definitely inspired the younger ones also to dream that dream. And Rivka happens to be my daughter.
I
So
know.
I,
I know.
I will not make this too long, but primarily Rivka also, like everybody, started to play football in school, and then she was scouted by Sudhakar sir. And once that happened, I think there was a drastic change in her interest and motivation. I think the right coach matters, like everybody says, that had a deep impact on her life. And she grew up as a musician, and now suddenly, that this love for football has overtaken that. So So from her journey has been pretty organic from A division to super division, and in super division she had the opportunity to play also with Misaka for one season, which really boosted her confidence and gave her a lot of experience playing with older players. And then like she was loaned from us to them, and then she also played with Masaka in the IWL in the previous season, uh,
Seasons.
and finally ended up with Setu for this current season. And I think all of these different experiences have just allowed them to better her game, I think, and make her a lot more confident on the field. And I think that is what scouts look for. So if she was scouted from the national tournaments, that has that has been her aim, and that is what she's achieved completely on her own. And I think the next level for her is to make it to the national senior women's team,
Senior
right?
team.
Because that will give her the exposure that she's looking for, and then to make take it forward to take this up professionally, and supplemented with her academics, which is where she would like to study sports psychology and give back again to the system, stay closely knitted with the sports industry by that.
Yeah, I think we were super excited when she got signed by Setu, right? I mean, she had placed for Misaka, but then again, Setu is a national level team. They've been
Yes,
doing good, right? And
yes,
that is like, okay, oh, the Karnataka players being watched from other
yes,
states as well, right? Which
yes,
are national level teams.
yeah,
That's puts a precedence of what we as a teams are doing, right? I think
absolutely.
the credit goes to KSFA, Kemp, and everyone who is involved, right? Even the parents. I mean, especially you and Ramji. I think we should be thanking you guys to putting the kids' interest into the plays, right? That gives a lot of boost to them as well, and I think they themselves putting the efforts to go to the nationals and play is very tremendous. And then she going into the India national team representing Karnataka is a great thing because
Yes,
I mean, if you see, right,
absolutely.
we have been talking. I think our team was talking about why we don't have
Yes,
national level players from
yes,
Karnataka, right? Especially in the
right,
women's team.
yeah.
And I mean, we have been doing good, but again, that was a lack of interest or lack of,
Lack of
I think,
opportunities, like Samir said,
opportunities, right?
because we have to
Right?
start playing young, right? I mean, like, the last time a Karnataka player was in the national team was, I think, a decade ago, which was Amulya,
Exactly.
right? Up
Yes.
since then, there have been nobody. So the scouts also, I think, don't take interest where there is not too much activity happening. So they're giving them more opportunities, and the fact that Rivka was able to, balance everything, taking all these opportunities, I think that has, like I said, just improved her game, and ultimately, that's what the scouts look for. So it doesn't matter, where you come from. Primarily, you can come from, even Mangalore, or you don't have to
Mm.
only be a Bangalore city girl. It's just about, us, teams like, I mean, clubs like us in Karnataka providing more opportunities for girls, so that there are more spots being filled in the national teams, Indian national teams.
Got it. Great.
So how can other district FS help in scouting? Uh, uh, they should provide you the basic structure, right? About the girls who are good at this, or uh, this is the girl to look out for. They should provide
Mm.
the lists, right?
I think, and I want to first acknowledge that the districts are working on it, are doing, but there are certain obvious things that have been taken for granted, and that is hurting the outside Bangalore growth. I wouldn't say hurting growth, speed of growth for those players, or lack of opportunity for those players. There's a lot more the district efforts can do. They're just following the same template. From our observation, we feel that, like on men's side is now organically grown, and there is a lot of path, a lot of interest. But that is where the district needs to do minimum. The boys will go on their own, find these tournaments, get a team together, play, and all that. That is not just possible on girls' side, right? If a district girl has to come out and play to Bangalore, her parents are going to think 100 times more than a 14-year, 16-year, even 18-year-old boy coming out from the district and playing in Bangalore with just a group of teammates. So that sort of way the district has to build that support. KSFA is doing, as Kate mentioned, that sort of support. They have accommodation here at the stadium. They provide that safe accommodation and transport facilities. But the districts also have to do their part. One of the major things we feel the districts don't do is organize those district level tournaments often enough for girls, because that is one first and foremost is providing game time. When we see district players come here for to Bangalore for state selection, right, the talent is there, the individual skill is there, the drive is perhaps even higher than our Bangalore girls, because they want to get into that system and play at that level to better their lives. But the lack of game time shows up quickly once the trial game starts. The nuances in the game, the tactics in the game, and sometimes even the stamina, right? How to build that. That part will only come if they play more competitive games, not just inter-school or between two teams friendly kind of games at the district level. So the districts need to organize more tournaments, and then for every such tournaments, they should try to invite a club or two from Bangalore who are already at a slightly higher level to give that exposure to their players, that level of competition to their players. That would be my suggestion number one, right? The other issue with our system is a bit human issue. A lot of club coaches or district academy coaches do not want to let go of their players to play for other clubs, better clubs, even if that club is playing, providing exposure to the higher level tournament. An A division team from from Mangalore, will deny their best players also the chance to play in Super Division for Kemp, thinking that they will lose the player. We have to do really trusted negotiations, build that trust, give them a no objection certificate for the next transfer
Engagement.
in advance to facilitate that. And we are willing to go to that extent because we saw that the player needed that level of exposures. On the other hand, we get calls from coaches as far as Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, MP, asking us to take their players. Those coaches are looking to provide those opportunities because there is nothing else in their state.
Correct.
Whereas in our state, when it is there, many of these district coaches are reluctant, thinking that, okay, they go to camp, we will not have them for our
Match.
matches. But if you are not growing, if that player grows, if you let them go, they will have that loyalty to come back to you and help you grow as well,
Yeah.
rather than just confining them to that level, district level only. And then there is that three transfer rule, which also sometimes is the practical limitation that an amateur player can be transferred only three times,
Three times.
and that limits the opportunities as well. So the districts need to sort of work against these things, but it is doable. If they plan right, even that three transfer rule can provide their district player a good opportunity to play for their district club at the district level in the A division, and then for a super division club. And that's how they should plan it. Those three in a season is still excellent opportunity, AIFA part. But that's what is needs to change at the coaching level, at the human level, that coaches need to see that path rather than just thinking about their level and their club.
Got it.
Those are the two
Samir,
things I would say most important.
yeah, got it. Samir, I think in the districts, right? Which is those top districts that are helping you guys out, right? Apart from Bangalore.
Right now, it's not the top level they are helping, but there is a good growth in girls football in Belgaum and Mangalore, in
Okay.
those two districts. We have had some good players come from Chitradurga as well. KFH has tried to organize some competitions there, but beyond that, nothing. And I'm pretty sure if we go even around like Salem and all, or other nearby districts, there will be talent, but there the district associations and KSFA will need to help us. We can't do that on our own scouting, cover
Got
all
it.
of it.
Got it. Got it. That's good to hear in one way, but again, I think emphasize on other districts as well, right? I mean, they need to push hard on getting both, right, men's and the women's football into picture. I think what
Correct.
we have seen is I'm typically from Mangalore, I know it. So and what the things are, right? So it's it's a smaller level. I think there's a lot of growth needs to be done in terms of the football in those regions as well, right? So coming back to Kathleen, I think no foul play is one of the initiative I think your team is doing closely, right? I think would love to hear about this as well because that's an important piece of aspects in women's football as well, right? I mean, not even in football, but everywhere, right? But I think this is one thing that I think we saw in the KWL, and I think that's a good initiative. But I think we'd like to hear about that.
Okay. Yeah, so no foul play, the origin of no foul play, I think the idea again you can say goes back to us having girl footballer children, right? Children of and they as they progressed in their career, they started to travel. They started outside of their homes in travel to other cities and get exposed to newer people. So there was always, I think, all of these other media coverages in the background, which often suggested that it's not necessarily a safe ecosystem. I mean, there are untoward things that happen, like it would in any sport, of course, but in football as well. And as we started to understand the entire ecosystem through them, we did come across some incidents where we found that of course things happen, but there should be a way to overcome any sort of situation that you might be in. And then who would you turn to if something were to happen like that? Like, let's say you were bullied by somebody, or you were sidelined by a coach, or you didn't have proper bathroom facilities, or even certain things like, why do some tournaments have like a tiny minute prize money when compared to a boys tournament, the same tournament, but the boys winning will is like three times more than the girls winning prize. So these are the questions even the girls started to ask. And then we decided that there is no place to go to, there is nobody to talk to, right? So why not set up a platform which is an anonymous open platform where girls find to be a safe space if they had an issue with any of these things that I just said, not necessarily only about abuse, or not necessarily only about extremely negative things that they may encounter. It could be something, like I said, as simple as, I don't have a changing facility at this venue. So you anonymously talk about this at this forum, or you formally make a complaint even at this forum, and then it gets channelized to the right people, the people who can actually bring about that change. So an administrator, someone in an association, or somebody who, sorry, I lost all your visuals, so I stopped speaking.
Yeah, you had a bit of network issue there, but
Yeah,
you
I
could
think
still
it's
Can you
hear
hear
me.
me?
Go ahead.
you can just continue. It's fine.
Yeah.
It
Yeah. Yeah, so that's when we decided that no foul play. We would create a platform which allows women footballers to use their voice, and to ensure that they are heard in maybe the smallest of ways possible. Yes, but at least it would reach the right channels. And when intervention is required, the right channels will be the one who will step in and ensure that these issues are tackled, and there are some resolution found to them. And it also helped us to collaborate with brands, because when the first two the brands that collaborated with us, one was Bounce Infinity and the second was TVS Scooty. They were actually very attracted to the concept of this campaign itself, and the fact that even an association like the Karnataka Football Association was associating with it. And they believe that by them coming forward to sponsor these two prizes for the winner of the Karnataka Women's League was nothing but them bolstering this and saying, empowering girls to play more football, and to
yeah.
just encourage them to continue playing, and acknowledge their efforts that go into this. Because I mean, any which way you look at it, it is not easy being a woman in sport. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's one of the greatest initiative that I think we just saw in whole of KSFA, right? I mean, even men's division, if you see, right? I mean, uh, you don't see a lot of sponsorship as well there, right? But I think women's team getting bounce, TVS, and with the help of the whole no foul play, right? I think that's a one of the best initiative that we also saw, because there was a clear difference when we saw KWL and BDFA Super Division because of the sponsors, right? So that helps in terms of growing the women's game as well.
Absolutely.
Um, right? And coming to one point, right? I think last two questions. One is from me, right? Specifically on the infrastructure, right? Because Bangalore has only one stadium for entire men's and the women's team, which is the BDF, Bangalore Football Stadium, right? So,
Yeah.
what do you want to say about this, and where do you see KSFA putting their efforts?
I think KSFA realizes that that is going to be a big effort. And what we would like to definitely see is that right now, because a lot of Karnataka football is concentrated in Bangalore, you definitely need another stadium. I recently went to Goa for scouting, and there is a good combination of Goa Football Association owned couple of stadiums, as well as private stadiums that are having a perhaps formal business understanding with Goa Football Association that can also be used. So IWL2, IWL, clubs like Setu hosting their camps, all that is possible there because that infrastructure is already there, and Goa is a much smaller state, although of course much
Yeah,
greater state in terms of football following. But that is the path I think KSFA should follow. Look at not only build another facility in Bangalore if possible, but look at building it in other districts as well,
correct,
so that some of these things, the top level matches can happen there, both men's divisions and women's division, and that will attract not only more players but also more fans to the sport in Karnataka itself, and build that support. It's you don't really need always a big sponsor. A 10 small sponsors also can actually fill up a space for a big
correct.
sponsor. When you go to those district levels, that will be the thing to target at, and that's what we saw in Goa. The smaller places also have football stadiums, and they are very well maintained. So it is spread all across North and South Goa, the footballing tournaments, whereas here everything has to come in Bangalore. So that definitely needs to change. And already now, with the expansion that KSFA has encouraged and enabled in women's football, that facility is becoming inadequate. We definitely need one more stadium.
Got it. Got it.
You said other district as well, right? I'm from Tumkur basically.
Mhm.
We have a beautiful stadium which is similar to BFS. You might know, right? Bangalore Football Stadium. It is
Mhm.
similar to that here. They have inaugurated a year before, but there is no tournament or any training session which is taking place here, right? It's almost a 1 hour journey from Bangalore. They should
Right.
utilize.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, it needs the rest of the infrastructures around that, right? If they hold a league or a tournament there, then lodging, food, all those things also be there. But definitely, Tumkur is not far in that sense. It's a day trip, so to speak. So, yeah, yes, definitely, I will connect with you after the show to know more about that stadium and the facilities.
Sure,
Sure.
sure.
Great. So I think, Samir, I think one more thing. I think not specifically in terms of the women's football, right? But I think Kemp is doing exceptionally well in women's football. But uh, is there any plans of having a men's team?
Yes, definitely. But again, as I said before, right, we don't want to put up a team, a mercenary team, by just buying players. The other aspect of this, which we are very careful about, is that we see majority of the system is men's football is the primary, and then if there is time, effort, and money left, the clubs do women's football. The Kerala Blasters men's team got sanctioned, and to pay that sanction, they shut down the women's team. That's how, and we want to be exactly opposite.
The opposite.
So, yeah, so we want to show that we are going to focus on women's football. We are definitely not going to be gender based the other way as well. So we have started that organic growth. This year, like with women's football, we started with a homegrown team of girls playing TAL leagues and A division. We have started with a boys team in the ASFA Youth Premier League under 13 category this year. There was a
Got it.
Kemp team.
Yeah.
So we'll follow the same path to reach a level where then we can field our men's team in our way, following our philosophy, playing our game, which is that is another thing our coach always preaches, right? It, it's that game. You have to play the game that people will identify. Okay, this is a game, and that's what we will follow on the boys' side as well, or men's side as well.
Yeah, I think this is very rare to hear, right? I mean, in Indian football, right, where you say that okay, women's football is a priority, and then I'll just look into building from the scratch, right, in terms of the men's football. I think that's good to hear from you guys of what you are doing, right? And I think hopefully this grows as it will be, right?
Yeah,
And I think there's a lot of potential in terms of the whole women's football, and Karnataka is leading by its own of how the leagues are structured and being played, right? So I think I'll only tell that it's all the best for you guys, and I think we'll like to see a lot of your players representing Karnataka and India as well, and give them all the best to the
thank
national team as well, right? So hopefully seeing a lot of Kemp players in other teams of IWL as well when they grow, right? So that's what we hope for, and I think we'll always be open to you guys to talk about this and have uh, discussion around this.
Sure.
And I'd like to thank you for joining us today. So I think through your busy schedule and you made us some time to give us your thoughts and your opinion as well. I think thank you both, Samir and Kathleen.
and thank you
Thank
for
you.
the platform that is also in need of teams and clubs like us. We need to reach out to more people, have them hear our thoughts and what we are doing, and get their help. So hopefully people listen to this, get inspired, and join us in this movement.
Yes.
I think we'll only hope that more and more girls join from different regions of Karnataka, right? And
Yeah,
that's need of the hour,
yeah,
which will give them platform as well as
definitely,
opportunities, right, to represent the state and the national team. And it's good to have sports in women's life, right? And it's always helps them to in their life.
definitely.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so much, Kathleen and Samir.
Thank you. It was nice meeting you both, Ravi and Yash.
Thank
Thanks for your time as well.